So Nidhi, please tell us about yourself briefly.
Sir, my name is Nidhi Pai. I come from Hyderabad, Telangana. I was born in a coastal town called Kumta in Uttar Karnataka district in coastal Karnataka. I am an honors graduate in commerce from Osmania University. I graduated in the year 2020, and since then I've been preparing for the civil services exam. My hobbies include interacting with new people, yoga, meditation, and also watching stand-up comedy and debates.
Okay. Why you want to come into civil services? I mean, after BCom, right? BCom.
Yes, sir.
Why you haven't pursued MCom?
Sir, civil services has been my childhood dream, sir, and I've always wanted to enter this service at a young age, as young as possible. And that is the reason immediately after my college, I've started seriously preparing for this exam. And considering how difficult this exam is, I believe it requires a full-time preparation. And I wanted to give it my full dedication, sir. That is why I did not choose to take up further studies and prepare only for this exam.
Okay. And you said you're from Telangana, right? I mean, you are staying in Telangana, right?
Yes, sir.
How long? From how many years you were in Telangana?
Sir, almost most of my life I've been in Telangana, sir. I came to the state when I was about 5 or 6 months old, as I told my parents.
Okay. See, post the bifurcation of the state of West Andhra Pradesh, once Telangana has come out of Andhra Pradesh, have you seen any changes in the development of Telangana as a state compared to when it was in Andhra Pradesh?
Definitely, sir. There have been positive improvements in the state's development after the bifurcation. In fact, the three reasons why this bifurcation happened was water, funds, and employment, also called as Nilu, Nidulu, and Niyamakalu in Telugu. Now, if we look at one by one, sir, when we speak of water, considering that Telangana is a semi-arid state, the state government has taken several irrigation projects like the Kaleshwaram Lift Irrigation Project or Palamur Rangareddy Project and several other government programs like Mission Kakatiya, Mission Bhagiratha. So irrigation-wise, the state has been able to perform really well, sir. Secondly, with regard to the funds or the resources, sir, if we see the per capita income of every of the population of the state has more than doubled since 2014, and the state has also been doing extremely well in different sectors like the pharmaceutical industry or the service exports or in terms of attracting investments. And also, sir, one of the cultural elements which was given focus that the culture of Telangana was not given much significance prior to 2014. Now we see, sir, that a lot of the Telangana festivals are being celebrated with huge pomp and celebration across the state, whether it is the Batukama festival or the tribal festival of Sammakka Sarakka Jatra. So these elements of the Telangana culture have been gaining importance. Yes, sir, there are certain issues of concern even now. For example, unemployment still remains a big issue for the state now.
Tell me why unemployment problem of Telangana is not at solved and what has to government do? Specifically to Telangana, what can government do to increase the employment?
Yes, sir. So firstly, with regard to the first part of your question as to why we have such a huge unemployment rate in Telangana, sir, the reason I think is almost similar on the lines of all India level, sir, that we are missing the middle link, sir, which is the industry sector. Now, in Telangana, sir, around 55% of the population is dependent on agriculture, and there is very high disguised unemployment in agriculture, sir. Now, also considering the service sector, though it is doing really well in and around Hyderabad region, it requires skills. It is a skill job. And most of the labor that we have in the state is either unskilled or semi-skilled. So in order to employ these, we do not have proper industries to absorb this excess labor. And that is why we are seeing high unemployment rates, sir. But with regard to what we can do for the state in Telangana, I believe the solution lies in developing more basic industries, labor-intensive industries, for example, textile, food processing industries, which are also the sunrise industries. If we can focus on developing these kind of industries, then we can ensure that we absorb the excess labor from the markets.
Specific to industries, you said food processing industries. Tell me which food processing industries can be set up in Telangana for its geography and for its kind of agriculture produce.
So the agricultural products produced in Karnataka in Telangana are paddy, cotton, red chilies, sir. So probably processing industries attached to these one can be set up, sir. Also considering how fast these urban cities are growing, then packaged foods can also be explored, in my opinion, sir.
Okay, what is the status of mining industry in Telangana?
So the state has high mineral resources, sir, in the form of Singareni Collateral Limited in the state. So the output is said to be the second highest in India, sir, the coal production. And it has been doing really well as well, sir.
Other than coal, anything else?
Uh,
Any other minerals that are being mined from Telangana?
Nothing strikes my mind as of now, sir.
Okay. Tell me, industry. See, there are some industrial belts in India, right? Industrial belts in India,
Yes, sir.
where most of the industries are clustered. They form as a cluster. Like that in Telangana, is there any industrial cluster?
Sir, we have the Genome Valley in Hyderabad, sir, which focuses around the pharmaceutical industrial development. We have also have IT clusters in Hyderabad as well, sir, which is also spreading to the Rangareddy districts of late. So these are the two I can think of, sir.
See, you're talking about pharma industry, right? In
Yes, sir.
pharma industry, there are, bulk drugs. Have you heard of that?
Yes, sir.
So what is India famous for? Bulk drugs?
Sir, yes, sir. India is famous for bulk drugs. It is said that India produces about 30% of the generic drugs which is produced in the world. So, yes, sir, generic drugs is what India is known for.
So for producing generic drug, can we produce generic drug for something which is under patent?
Uh, Sir, generic drugs is one way of bypassing the patent regulations, sir, because unlike following the exact method followed in the patented drugs, a different method is adopted to produce the same kind of drugs, sir. The process followed is different, and thus we are able to bypass the entire patent rights, and that is why these drugs are available at a cheaper cost, sir. So that,
So are you sure that if any new drug comes in the West, a
yes, sir.
patented drug,
Yes, sir.
immediately can we produce generic drug in India? Is it accepted in India? Immediately after we get a new drug for some cancer, whatever, can we produce generic drug immediately?
No, sir, there is a certain time gap which is there, but exactly how much is the time gap, I'm not aware of.
Okay, that time gap is a patented time, right?
Yes,
Patented
sir.
time. During the
Yes, sir.
time, during the time, as you said, can we really bypass the patent during the time?
No, sir, we cannot bypass the patent. Only after the time is over, then we can produce that drugs.
After time is over, why are you still calling it as bypassing? How is it bypassing once the time limit is over for the patent?
Sir, because the patent is still owned by one particular person or one particular industry, and we are using the same methodology to produce the drugs, sir. That is why, in my opinion, we call it that way.
Okay, have you heard of evergreening the patent? Evergreening of patent.
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Sir, in the entire patent industry, sir, it is said that the patent holders bring in extremely minor changes so that the duration, which is duration given to the patent, keeps on increasing without bringing in a very significant change in the product, sir. Just to increase the licensing period of the patent, minimal changes are brought in the product. So that is what is called evergreening of patents.
Okay. So as of now, as you said, India is one of the top countries in producing generic drugs, right? The
Yes, sir.
two, we are giving enough time for the patent after producing, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
are we doing anything against the international law? Or what we are doing, is it accepted in WTO?
Yes, sir, it is accepted in the WTO, sir. But recently there were issues with recently India and South Africa together had gone to the WTO for patent waiver for the COVID vaccine. And unfortunately, sir, this was not passed by the developed countries. They had obstructed to bypassing this patent, sir. So I think only in that regard, we were not successful in WTO.
So, do you think, as of now, whatever generics India is producing, generic drugs, do WTO accept all kinds of drugs to be produced in the form of generic drugs by India, or there are specific drugs only?
I'm not sure of this. I will have to read
Have you
on.
heard of something like life-saving drugs?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So anything in relation to life-saving drugs versus WTO versus India's general drug manufacturing in relation, can you identify?
I'm sorry, sir, unable to establish the link between the two.
Okay, Nidhi. See, you're from Telangana, but you stayed in Karnataka for few years, right?
Yes, sir.
See,
Very
just
brief
like
period of time.
just like Telangana, there is demand for separate state formation within a small region of Karnataka. Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir. The people from the Udupi district and the Dakshin Karnataka district, sir, where Tulu is spoken to a very large extent, these people have been asking, there have been demands for a separate state called Tulu Nadu in this district, in these two districts, sir. But however, there is not big commotion going on, and the issue has subsided as of now, sir. But there have been demands to have a separate state called Tulu Nadu.
Okay. What is the most underdeveloped region in Karnataka?
Sir, according to the socio-economic indicators, sir, the Hyderabad Karnataka region, which consists of the districts of Kalburgi, Raichur, Bidar, Gulbarga, these are the districts which are considered backward, sir.
Do they have mineral wealth?
Yes, sir, they do have mineral wealth.
Then why they're backward? If they have got enough mineral wealth, what is the reason they're still backward compared to other Karnataka districts?
Sir, the backwardness mainly pertains to the historical reasons, sir. Because if you look at the Uttar Karnataka district, few parts were part of the Bombay Presidency. Now, Mysore was again a separate province headed by the Mysore king. Now, Udupi and Dakshin Karnataka districts were part of the Madras Presidency. But the Hyderabad Karnataka region was part of the Nizam rule, sir. And from that is where it is being said that there was a neglect in the socio-economic development in the terms of health, education, that also reflects in the state of Telangana, sir. But it would be wrong to just blame the historical reasons. Even after independence, sir, the government has been neglecting this area in terms of development, sir. Development has mostly been in and around the areas of Bangalore, which is the state capital, and also a few areas of the Dakshin Karnataka or Udupi districts. And this area has largely been neglected by the governments.
Other than Nizam and neglection from the side of government, any other reasons can you think of for the backwardness of these regions of Karnataka?
Yes, sir. Sir, if we see these regions, sir, these regions also have a significantly high tribal population, sir, and also come under the western coastal region, which has got high forest areas. And that is why, sir, considering the difficult terrain and the high population of scheduled tribes, a lot of development has not been done in these places, sir. That also is considered one of the reasons for its backwardness.
Okay, in India, there are some tribal regions and there are some regions with almost very less tribes. Now, when you compare the development of a tribal region with a non-tribal region, what is the scale on which you can compare? Because in tribal region, they do not want, increased transportation facilities, which may affect their forest and their livelihood. Whereas the plain region, non-forest region, the development methodology is different. So how do you compare? What is the scale of comparison of development of tribal area to a non-tribal area?
Sir, socioeconomic indicators can be taken as a parameter to judge employment development, sir. For example, if we look at the tribal regions, sir, there have been mostly oppositions to building of industries and big hospitals or educational institution, considering that the forest will be destroyed. And owing to this, sir, the development and investment from private sector has been very less in these regions. So obviously, sir, the revenue in these districts is going to be less. And that is one way we can compare the development. Secondly, sir, with regard to the health or the education parameters, because if you look at the tribal regions, sir, they have their own traditional form of medicine and they do not accept the modern medicine system, sir. And owing to this, there are very high cases of anemia, infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate. So this also can be considered one of the parameters on which we can compare the developments.
Good. Okay. See, just like Telangana, there are many states, I mean, Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand that have formed, right? Even now
Yes.
there are demands. Tell me, basically, what is the criteria for creation of separate states that we have to follow?
So if we look at the root of this issue, sir, as to why we have demands for the separate creation of separate states, sir, it primarily boils down to development, sir, lack of development in certain regions and imbalanced regional development. Now, sir, if we look at on what basis should we have separate states, I would say, sir, if the state that is already existing works properly in strengthening the local governments in the form of panchayats and municipalities, ensures that there is equitable development in all the regions, brings in equal investment in all the regions, government supports the private sector in bringing in new investments. This will automatically bring in development in the backward regions, sir, which is considered one of the reasons why there are demands for people for separate state. So in my opinion, sir, rather than looking at issues as to what should be the basis on which we have separate states, we must look at why there are demands for a separate states and try to solve that particular issue, which will automatically reduce the demand for new states in India, sir.
So the underdeveloped region of Karnataka also, if you have developed that region of Karnataka, which is underdeveloped, what shall we
Yes,
do?
sir.
Yeah, we have to strengthen the panchayats.
Yes, sir, we need to invest in panchayats and municipalities, and also we need to bring in a lot of investments, sir. For example, last year, the government of the Karnataka had announced about 3,000 crore investment in the Hyderabad Karnataka region in the form of building schools, colleges, hospitals, in improving transport connectivity, and targeting the people where development is required. So, for example, in the Kalburgi district, the socioeconomic indicators related to women is very bad. So the government had put special focus to see why these indicators are bad and to work in that aspect, sir. So in this way, if we targetedly work in the backward regions, I think these demands will come down automatically.
Okay. Tell me, in India, as we discussed, there is demand for separate states. There are demands from several regions of India for creation of separate states. Name any one or two states where you think the demand is reasonable and we have really give a separate state there.
Sir, in my opinion, sir, I think if we can work on bringing equitable development, sir, then there is no need to reduce the size of the states in any of the states, sir, because again, so if you look at the example of the new states of Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and all, though after separation they have been receiving separate, they have been doing better than the previous combined states, still they are quite backward in the socio-economic indicators. So I feel
Do you think Chhattisgarh is backward in social indicators compared to Madhya Pradesh?
Yes, sir, it is backward to a very large extent.
After Chhattisgarh is separate from Madhya Pradesh, hasn't it developed socially and economically to a large extent after separation from Madhya Pradesh?
Sir, the difference I think is not very stark, sir. There is minimal improvement in development, but I believe the same can take place in case they were part of the same state, sir. But at the same time, if the states are extremely large, so that it is difficult to administrate these regions, then that can be considered as one of the reasons based on which bifurcation can be allowed.
Any example can you give in India? Such a case is there where you think separation is required?
Sir, maybe in Maharashtra or states like Uttar Pradesh, sir, which are quite big to administrate. In these regions, if we can have smaller state, then the administration would get closer to people and development can take place, sir.
So these days, when you talk about development these days, they say space is the future. India has to invest
Yes.
more in the space for further development. Can you tell me how investment in space will help increase the socio-economic indicators? How can it help India in development by investment in space technology?
Yes. So one thing that strikes my mind is if we can develop the space sector and if we can enhance our capability of satellite connectivity, sir, this way we can bring in better telecommunication and internet services to people. Now, if there is a large internet penetration and access to fast internet connectivity, more people can educate themselves and have access to more information. And that again will have multiplier effects in the form of better socioeconomic indicators in the form of education, access to medical services, and also. So I think this is how I can make
Any
it.
impact agriculture? How can space technology help in agricultural production and yield, increase yield?
Sir, better monitoring over agricultural fields, sir. That can be one of the reasons. And based on the land size and the land proportions, proper crops can be identified. Irrigation, this level can be seen, and it will be compared at an all India level when we can have images from the tops from the space.
Even talk about the space. You heard of SpaceX?
Yes, sir.
It's a private agency, right? SpaceX.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it's working on reusable. What is it? Reusable. Some reusable technology is working on. Are you aware of that? Reusable technology. Reusing what? Even the ISRO is also working on the similar technology. Reusability of something among the space-related aspects.
So I think reusability of the space debris, sir, but I'm not sure. So I would have to read.
Okay. It's actually reusability of launch vehicle.
Okay, sir.
You know what is a launch vehicle, Nidhi?
Yes, sir. A launch vehicle is used to launch satellites into the space. If I can put it briefly.
So why India or SpaceX? Why they're working on reusable launch vehicles? Why it is so important, reusable to launch vehicle? Why it is so important that we're all working on that? Even ISRO is working on that for almost 5-6 years.
So firstly, it is for the protection of environment and sustainable development, sir.
Are you sure about that? Okay, go on.
Secondly, sir, to reduce the cost that goes into building of new satellite launch vehicles, sir. Cost is one other reason. Thirdly, sir, I think more efficient uses of already existing resources can be one of the reasons.
Okay, but why we are still, unable to develop the reusable launch vehicles? What is the major challenge in the entire technology of developing reusable launch vehicles? What is the main hindrance, obstacle, the challenge that we have to overcome to finally produce this reusable launch vehicle?
I'm not sure of the main challenge, sir.
Have you heard something of re-entry technology? Re-entry, a launch vehicle re-entering into atmosphere once again. During re-entry, what happens? Have you heard that?
No, sir. My knowledge on space technology is quite limited to be able to answer this. I'm sorry, sir.
Okay, tell me why should we spend so much money into the space? For example, mission on Mars, trying to send man into the space. A developing country like India, where poverty is still at large, poverty. We're unable to solve
Yes, sir.
means we're unable to solve the problem of poverty.
Yes, sir.
Why should we spend so much money on the mission of Mars, Chandrayaan mission, trying to send man to the space? Why?
Sir, if you look at these space missions, sir, they have a lot of advantage which it provides to the general community and the scientific community of India, sir, and also to the world. Now, sir, we can better ourselves in terms of research and development. Secondly, sir, it also has a geopolitical significance where we can set an example for the world that India is doing extremely well in terms of its space technology, sir. Thirdly, sir, considering that we are thinking of bringing in new technologies, I think investment in research and development has to be there, and space technology also comes into picture. But with regard to the contrast between investment in these sectors and the poverty situation in India, sir, I believe, sir, we have to take a two-pronged approach, where on one side we are also a welfare state which has to focus on the welfare of the people, like reducing poverty, improving health, providing food security. At the same time, sir, if we want to develop as a nation and be able to compete with all the other nations in the world, we need to also focus on research and development and investing in these developing sectors as well, sir. So I think a balance need to be created in both of these.
Okay. Do you know India is actually spending very less compared to many other countries in developing these missions?
Yes, sir. Uh, in fact, the Mars orbiter mission, sir, is said to have costed only rupees 8 per kilometer uh, to reach the Mars, sir. So yes, sir, it is India's space projects have been low cost in nature.
Hmm. And these days technology has become very important, even for a civil service officer, for development of any nation. They should be aware of various technologies that can come handy in whichever sector you're working, any sector. First, you should be aware of technologies that you have to use in order to get the work done easily, for to increase efficiency and effectiveness. Right? For
Yes, sir.
example, you have done BCom, commerce,
Yes,
right?
sir.
In commerce and trade, tell me the application of artificial intelligence, how it's helpful.
So in terms of basic activities like recording the entries, different journal entries, ledgering of the accounts, artificial intelligence has come to take up a very significant role. And considering that the rate of mistakes is also very less in when technology is brought in, artificial intelligence has taken up a prime space in terms of accounting departments. Though analyzing the accounts still is more or less something that humans have to take the responsibility for. Secondly, sir, with regard to monitoring of products, sir, how perfect the products are, the quality of the products, artificial intelligence has also come into play. So we reduce the malfunctions and the problems with certain products, sir. So that error rectification also, artificial intelligence has come into play, sir. Also, with regard to marketing of products, artificial intelligence has brought in new creative ideas and is being used as a tool to market products in a different ways.
How can artificial intelligence help in marketing the products? I did not quite understand that.
Yes, sir. Uh, so, for example, there is an interesting product, sir. By using artificial intelligence, we can use the mechanism to tell people the different positives or negatives about one particular product. So artificial intelligence has been able to take that at a larger platform. So I think this is how marketing a department also is being making use of artificial intelligence, also in the field of digital marketing as well, sir.
Please elaborate on the application of AI in any other field. Take, for example, agriculture. I want
Yes,
specific
sir.
example, specific answer. I don't want a broad answer. I want specifically where AI can be used. You could choose anything. Let's say agriculture, for example. How AI can be used for agriculture. You can take an example and explain.
Yes, sir. Sir, with regard to assessment of produce in agriculture, sir, and proper categorization of the produce in agriculture, sir. So there, artificial intelligence can come into play.
Can you please tell me what do you mean by artificial intelligence?
Yes, sir. The artificial intelligence as a technology, sir, mimics general human behavior and applies it in the normal decision making and application in different fields, sir. Applies human intelligence in different fields.
Okay, okay. So, for example, the Western countries are right now able to use AI in several fields, right?
Yes,
India
sir.
has to still pick up. India has to still be able to adapt technology. For
Yes, sir.
example, have you heard of quantum technology? Have you heard that?
Yes, sir.
Can you think and tell me how quantum technology can be helpful in furthering the AI?
The use of supercomputers, sir, in terms of fast tracking the processes, and considering the speed at which supercomputers operate, I think it will be difficult for human intelligence to match to that. And in that case, artificial intelligence can come and match the speed of the supercomputers, and that is where faster processing of things can take place.
Okay, okay. See, recently the European Union, European countries, and USA tried to put a ban on the import of Russian oil.
Yes, sir.
Their idea was that by banning the import of Russian oil, Russian economy will be affected, right?
Yes, sir.
But do you think Russian economy will really be affected if European countries and USA stop purchasing the oil of Russia? Or maybe a price cap. You heard of price cap?
Yes, sir.
There's a price cap. So
Yes, sir.
beyond that price, they should not purchase the oil. They purchase the oil from Russia only within the price cap.
Yes, sir.
So what is Russia's response for this?
Sir, with regard to first part of your question, whether the Russia's economy would be impacted by these sanctions imposed by the Western nations, sir. Sir, the impact is going to be there, sir, definitely there, but to a very limited extent, because the Western countries are not completely banning the import of oil. And in fact, the import of natural gas is something that is going on for the European and the Western nation. So there is no ban on that. Secondly, sir, countries like India have still been purchasing oil from Russia, sir, and also China. So in that way, it has been bypassing the sanctions imposed and has been exporting oil to other nations as well. But yes, sir, considering the price caps and the amount of exports Russia used to do at one point, it is going to certainly get impacted, sir, but not to a very, very large extent in numbers.
Okay, okay. And Indian manufacturing depends on the oil. You know that Indian manufacturing sector depends on oil.
Yes,
so,
sir.
what is the impact on Indian manufacturing sector or India as a whole because of this recession by European Union and USA? Is it going to be advantageous to India or no?
So, considering the rise in fuel prices, sir, we have already been hit. So, Indian economy has already been hit, as also been reported in the economic survey this year. The COVID pandemic, followed by the Russia-Ukraine war and the increasing fuel prices, did badly hit the Indian economy and the economy worldwide as well. So it would be wrong to say that India is not affected by the increase in fuel prices. And considering the amount of fuel that is being exported by India, definitely, sir, there were disruptions in the supply chains. Production also was impacted to a very large extent.
Considering the Indian rupee, does this affect Indian rupee in depreciation or appreciation? The Russia-Ukraine war and the oil ban, these things, do they appreciate the rupee or depreciate the rupee?
Sir, they have been depreciating the rupee, sir. Considering the increasing current account deficit due to the rising prices of oil, the currency has been depreciating. But this is not the only reason why we are seeing the depreciation, sir. A very big reason is considered the change in USA federal policies, sir, of increasing the interest rate. Now, this has impacted not just the Indian rupee, sir, but the several currencies all over the world. But with regard to the amount of depreciation Indian rupee has gone, sir, the RBI is taking keen measure to release its foreign exchange reserves and to ensure that the slide in the rupee is controlled to a very large extent.
See, amid all these things, there are reports that the manufacturing sector, the investment in the manufacturing is shifting from India to Southeast Asia. Most of the investors who want to invest in the manufacturing sector, who want to establish industries. Previously,
Yes,
India was a good destination, but now they are moving from India to Southeast Asia. Are you aware of that? Do you think so, first of all?
Sir, while Southeast Asian economies have been attracting investments, sir, but India also to a very large share has been attracting investments in diverse sectors, sir. So the difference as far as my limited knowledge is concerned, is not very stark. India has been attracting investments in diverse sectors, sir.
How Southeast Asia is able to compete with India? What is the main reason why Southeast Asia is able to attract? Some of the investments have come to India, but it's actually going to Southeast Asia. What will be the reason for that?
So the Southeast Asian economies have been growing at a very good pace, sir. The growth rates have been above 5%. And in general, if we see the global economy, the growth rates have come down. So considering this, sir, the Southeast Asian therefore have been able to attract better investments.
Do,
And
do you
also
think do you think Southeast Asia has a better growth rate than India presently? Last financial year?
not better than India, sir, but in comparison to the other countries, sir, like the European countries have been having low rates. In that
Okay.
comparison, the rates in Southeast Asian economies have been good.
Mm.
So that is one of the reasons, sir. Secondly, sir, there are a lot of labor-intensive sectors in the South Asian economy, so that also can be considered one of the reasons. Investment in labor-intensive sectors is what we have been seeing in the Southeastern Asian economies, sir.
Where is the low labor cost? India, Southeast Asian countries, low labor cost.
India, so India, we have low labor cost.
Are you sure about that, Nidhi?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you got a chance to go through yesterday's budget in Parliament?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, any initiatives in the commerce sector? Commerce.
Uh, Sir, there has been change in the taxation rates, sir. The tax slabs have been changed, so that we accommodate the middle class sections more. That is one. Secondly, sir, there has been a renewed push towards capital expenditure, sir. About 10 lakh crore has been assigned to the capital expenditure. Now, this will again have multiplier effects in terms of development of commerce, which is trade, transport, connectivity, and thus increase in revenue, sir. That also is a great signal. Thirdly, sir, with regard to green economy industries, also a major push has been given by the yesterday's budget, sir.
Anything in the budget that actually increases the exports of India? Any announcement from our Honorable Finance Minister that actually impacts or increases the exports from India?
Sir, the basic custom duties have been reduced to a very lot of products, sir, and there has been bought a uniform basic customs duty, so as to make the entire taxation process easier and also to make exports easier. So I think that is one of the ways in which exports can be increased.
How does your commerce knowledge help you in civil services as an officer, civil services?
Sir, now if we look at the Indian economy, sir, we have been giving a renewed push towards development of capital and also focusing more on the development of commerce and industry. through the various improvements we see in ease of doing business and all. And if we see, sir, investments, commerce is one way in which we can improve the revenue of a particular nation. Now, if I am part of any district, sir, I think I will be able to analyze the different options based on which I can attract investments in that particular region, help the industries in order to explain them how they can reduce the costs in these places. Cost to benefit ratio is where I can help them, and help them in better identification of products, the area of investment and all. So in this way, sir, when I think we have a lot of industrial investments, automatically there is the development in district. This way, I think I can be of help as an officer.
Okay, okay. Basically, why do you want to become a civil service officer?
Sir, in my opinion, so the next 25 to 30 years are going to be extremely important and challenging for our country, sir. And considering that I have always been a person who has enjoyed roles of leadership and responsibility, and also the kind of diversity civil services provides, where I can create a large-scale impact on the issues that affect me and the people around me, is what attracted me to civil services.
And what are the strengths as a civil service officer, or weaknesses as a civil service officer that you can think of?
Sir, firstly, sir, I think I have the compassionate side towards everyone, sir, towards the weaker section of the society. Secondly, sir, I would say better intercommunication skills. I would be able to better talk and connect and understand the issues different people face. Thirdly, sir, I would say integrity and commitment to my job. So I am someone who completes the job which I undertake, and those are few positives. With regard to negatives, sir, the compassion side of mine gets too little towards emotional side, sir. And there is a greater need for larger emotional balance in the civil services, sir, because there are different situations that come together. So these, I think, is my negative points.
So, Nidhi, why didn't you choose IPS, a second option?
Sorry, sir?
Why did not you choose IPS or IFS, a second option? Why you went to IRS directly? Why not IPS or IFS?
Sir, considering my temperament and interests, sir, and also that I come from a commerce and accountancy background, I felt that my interests are more inclined towards the revenue, audit, accounts related services. And that is why, sir, in the list, these services come above the Indian Police Service or the Indian Foreign Service. So for me, sir, I believe all the services are equally good and provide an equal opportunity to serve the country. The preference was primarily based on my interests, sir.
Okay. And your native place is Karnataka, right?
Yes, sir.
Then why you choose Andhra Pradesh as a second option?
Sir, since I've been, so Karnataka is my second option. Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. That's what I'm listening, what you're telling. Okay. So, and also, you will see, mindfulness meditation is one of your hobby. How often do you do it? How often?
Sir, I try to do it quite regularly, sir. About 3 to 4 times a week at least. But mindfulness meditation comes into play, sir, when I'm overburdened with a lot of work and there is certain sense of rush in my mind. So that is when I ensure that I definitely take a few minutes of my day off and focus on mindfulness meditation. Sir.
See, there is a saying, people say that Gautam Buddha has reached epitome of meditation. He reached to a stage of nirvana. Yes. Post which he started, teachings. He started teachings. So, what do you understand by nirvana? Can all of us reach the stage through meditation? Stage of nirvana through meditation?
So, stage of nirvana can be understood as a stage of connectivity to the higher power, sir. Now, this is something that comes only after a rigorous practice that goes on for a lot of number of years. And considering the kind of lifestyle that is required to attain that stage of self-realization, sir, that needs a different kind of discipline, dedication and all, which I think, considering the busy lifestyle that all of us have these days, is a little difficult to maintain, sir. But at the same time, sir, if few of us try to maintain that kind of lifestyle and have a regular exercise and a commitment towards it, then I'm sure, sir, that we people can reach that stage of self-realization or calm. So I'm sure they can.
So nirvana is a stage of self-realization.
Yes, sir. Connecting with the higher power and attaining a sense of calm in terms of all the difficulties as well.
And where is it higher power?
Sir, higher power is generally used to refer to God, sir, the supreme being. So that is what we refer to as higher power, a sense of direct connect with the higher power, mentally or spiritually. That is what is nirvana, sir.
And the Indian art sculptures always show Gautam Buddha in the position of meditation, right? Is it meditation? The position that is he sits in.
Yes, sir.
With half closed eyes, meditation, right?
Yes, sir.
And what type of meditation is that? Is that what we call as mindful meditation?
Sir, as far as the meditation proposed by Gautam Buddha, sir, he preached about the entire process of meditation, which is having a state of mind without agitation and a sense of calm. Now, later on, so different forms of meditation have been evolved based on their specific preference. Like there, we have the transcendental meditation or the mindfulness meditation and several other different forms. But Gautam Buddha was broadly associated with the umbrella term meditation, sir, which deals with attaining a mind without any agitation or disturbance.
Okay. Oh, you have gone on a vaccination awareness drive.
Yes.
2014.
Yes, sir.
After that, you have never been in that. Have you again participated in the Rotary Club? Any other drive? Rotary Club?
No, sir. No, sir. That was the only drive I participated in.
Why you did not continue that? I mean, it's very interesting, right? Awareness generally among people on various aspects, may it be vaccination or anything else. Why did you stop that? Why is it a single time instant?
Sir, it was part of my school activity, sir. Our principal was part of the Rotary Club. And in association with that, I participated in this particular activity. But coming out of school, sir, I took up several other activities and then I could not continue this particular initiative, sir.
What do you do in the last 2 to 3 years along with preparation? How are you passing your time? What are you doing?
Sir, while preparation has been my main focus all these years after graduation, I've picked up several different interests, sir. For example, I've started taking up interest in badminton, yoga and meditation, which I took up during the COVID pandemic, sir, because at that time it completely restricted us to our houses and there was a need for mental calm amidst all the chaos. So that is when I took up yoga and meditation as well. And yes, sir. These are the different things I've been doing after my graduation, sir. Interacting with few people, guiding few people in the UPSC preparation is also something that I've taken up in the last few years.
Okay. So you have won some competition spell bee vocabulary.
Yes, sir.
Have you answered all questions right, or have you made any mistakes in vocabulary?
Yes, there have been several mistakes that I've made, sir.
Please tell me the spelling of weird.
WEIRD, sir.
Okay, Nidhi, your interview is over.